everyone, and welcome back to the next episode of Roo Zoo here in our new Australian zoo. Today I am adding the reptile house to our zoo. This was initially going to be a reptile house slash koala habitat, but I've decided to divide these into two videos just simply because I had far too much footage. The video would have been, 45 minutes to an hour long. But also, as I've informed you guys in the past, my schedule for these next couple months is pretty insane at university in conjunction with my full-time job as well. So I apologize for having to divide these videos up for you guys, but if anything, it'll give you some extra content to look forward to. So in this video, we are building the reptile house, Australian exhibit house, if you will. There's also the giant cockroach, so it's not purely a reptile house. But after that, we will be adding the koala habitat to this build, and you'll see later on in the video how we're going to implement that. Basically, there is a pass-through that goes through the entire length of this building that separates both halves of the koala habitat. So I think it turned out really cool. I like how it looks. So I hope you guys enjoy the video. If you are enjoying the content, please do hit the like button. If you're not a sub here yet, please consider subscribing. It helps me out a lot. You guys know how all the YouTube stuff works, so I'd appreciate it if you become a member of the family. We have a lot more content to come here on the channel. So you guys really seem to like the red kangaroo habitat we made, so thank you guys all for the great feedback on that video. I think it turned out well. You can kind of see it in the background there with the safari ride going around it. So this building here that we are making for the Australian reptile habitat, it's not actually an Australian building. You guys might think that's a bit weird, but I just saw this building on one of the architecture pages that I follow on Instagram, and I just loved it. So don't ask why I did it for this Australia build. I just wanted to make it. So here you go. There's no real rhyme or reason to it other than that. I just simply saw the building, thought it looked cool, and thought it would make a cool building for our reptile building. That's it. This is actually the Thorncrown Chapel, which is in Arkansas, I believe, in America. And it's a really cool design. You'll see in a second here. Basically, it's got these like interwoven X-type patterns of, what would you call them? Like, I don't even know what you would call them, like a girder or something like that, right? Basically, it's like these interlocking metal bars that create kind of like a woven pattern throughout the entire length of the building, and it creates this really cool depth of field look, and very just aesthetically pleasing and visually pleasing as far as the shapes and the shadows that it makes and stuff like that. It's really cool. Yeah, so I apologize if you guys were hoping for like an Australian themed building, but I don't want to just do Australian buildings for the entire zoo. I kind of want to do my own little spin on it, and like I said, I just wanted to make this building, challenge myself to something new, right? So I hope you guys can appreciate that. I think it turned out really well. I'm super happy with the design, so I regret nothing. You cannot guilt me into hating this. I like it, so I hope you guys appreciate my design work as well. It's something a little bit different. I'm trying to really get better at the building mechanics of this game. So in this one, I really tried to work within the grouping system and stuff like that, and have everything placed within a group. And in all honesty, it definitely did make things a lot more streamlined and easier for me to do as I was building it. So it's not all for naught. I did learn as a result of this, and I think by adopting these processes as I go forward, it will allow me to become better in my building as well. So yeah, it's a little bit of a learning process for me as well. But yeah, so this building houses the 3 reptile species as well as the insect from the Australian oceanic zone. So we have the eastern blue-tongued lizard that was added with the Australian DLC. We have the common death adder snake as well as the eastern brown snake, and then the giant cockroach as well, which are all part of either Australia or the oceanic region. So I didn't want to just... In previous zoos, I've just kind of sprinkled the exhibits randomly throughout the zoo, but this time I wanted to give them a dedicated place, somewhere to attract the guests to, but also just have them all housed in one area, right, as kind of a showcase of these said animals. And I think, you know, it turned out really well. The eastern blue-tongued lizard is the coolest exhibit animal to date, I think. We've mentioned this previously, but I think that the fidelity and the quality of the new models for this Australian DLC are really fantastic. Frontier has outdone themselves as far as the quality of the animal models this time around. I'm such a big fan, and the eastern blue-tongued lizard is no exception to that. If you look at it compared to even the other exhibit animals, like these snakes and stuff like that, the quality of the model and the animation riggings and everything is just, it's next level, right? So if you see in the video here, this is what I was talking about as far as these like crisscrossing metal bars that are a feature of this Thorncrown Chapel. You can Google the chapel as well. It's the Thorncrown Chapel in Arkansas, I believe it is. I want to say Arkansas. So I tried to recreate it as best as I could, but add my own little flares to it as well. So here I'm making the pass-through for the soon-to-be added koalas. As of the time of releasing this video, the koala habitat is already finished, so you can expect that video probably within the week. Again, I'm trying to front load my content for you guys because I don't have a lot of time to build or record or edit all the rest. So I'm trying to bank a couple videos for you guys so I can just release them and give you guys some content to look forward to without having any sort of drought like I've had in the past. You guys won't have to put up with this for too much longer. I only have about another year, maybe year and a half max, left of my uni program, and then I'll be done with that, and the only hurdle to my creative journeys will be my full-time job, and I can easily work around that in order to create content for you guys. So just cut me a bit of slack in these next couple months while I finish my uni programs, and I'll try and get content out to you guys whenever possible. So yeah, as I said, I wanted this chapel, or well, reptile house building, whatever you were going to call it, to house the koalas, but not in a direct sense. So basically I wanted the guests to kind of come in, be able to see all the reptiles and everything like that, but then have the koalas walking above them from either side of their habitat enclosure. So I thought this would be a kind of a cool way to do that. Initially, I wanted the tunnel to kind of go in, and I was going to create like a hotel with the koalas tube going in each of the people's rooms, but it didn't work for the design I was going for, so I went back to the drawing board and came up with this design instead. I'm not certain if we're going to add a hotel to this zoo anyways, like just in a different way. If you guys want to see something like that, be sure to let me know. We had a hotel built in our African zoo, or our first sandbox zoo. It wasn't really an African zoo, but in the African section of said zoo. If you guys want to check that out, the video is on the channel as well. I'll try to add a link to it right here for you. But yeah, with this building, I wanted to give it kind of a mix of rustic, mixed in with the architecture, the new age sort of architecture. So the building itself is like very designed and architecturally pleasing, and then on the inside I wanted it to kind of be more of that Australian look, right, where with like weathered wood and rock and plants and stuff like that, desert plants, that kind of thing, right? So I think the outside, while it may not be an Australian building, I think on the inside it really has a cool look and feel to it. These butterfly lights, while they may not look the greatest in this sense, I think the light that they produce is fantastic. It's one of the few lights in game where you can actually change the color of the light. I feel that a lot of the in-game lights, the white is just, it's very artificial, and like most lights that we have in our world, right? But when it comes to builds and stuff like that, I would prefer a much more warmer, natural light. So with these butterfly lights, I think they're really fantastic for doing that. I changed them to kind of like a orangey yellow color, and it gives a really warm, nice glow to it, and I think it complements the building quite well, if I do say so myself. So yeah, in the upcoming weeks, I will release the koala video to you guys. That'll be, like I said, probably next week. And then we have the cassowary and the dingoes yet to build. So if you guys have any ideas for what you want to see for either of those two animals, be sure to let me know. But yeah, the Australian Zoo is coming along fantastically. I love all the new pieces. Like even these little pieces of wood that you see me placing here, these are new, the planks of wood and stuff like that. Just the little building pieces, they add so much to the game as far as what we can do with builds and stuff like that, right? Like all the big pieces and stuff like that, all the new animals are fantastic, and I obviously want to have more animals, more buildings, all this stuff, right? But it's really the little pieces that I find add longevity and the ability to be more creative to the game, right? When you have just a skinny little plank of wood that's recolorable, right? Like that enables you to do so many different things that you couldn't do before, right? So it's the little building pieces I think that really set it apart from other packs. So while we go on the interior of this building, I just spend some time kind of sprucing up the exhibit habitats and everything like that. I didn't want them to just be the standard black box, you know what I mean? Even though the only animals in here are the exhibit animals, I still wanted to kind of have like that Australian flair to it, but also stylistically designed. So I've covered all the corners with this wood panel and like a circular round, as you can see here. I think it turned out really good. And then in each of the corners of the exhibits later on, I will add like a pillar, a post, the painted pillars. I think it turns out pretty good. But yeah, all in all, I wanted this building to be kind of like a stopover point for guests on not only when viewing either side of the koala habitat, but also kind of a chill out point where they can get out of the sun. I put some benches in here, there's lots of plant life and stuff like that, right? So just kind of a cool area, if you will, an air conditioned area for guests to chill at. If you guys have ever been to either, one of these warmer climates, like South America, Australia, Asia, right, where the sun beats down on you with all its fury, you look for those areas of air conditioning where you can kind of get some respite, right? So that was the purpose of this building, is just to provide an area for our guests to kind of chill in where they can view some animals, but mainly get out of the sun, take a breather and stuff like that. I messed around with putting a vendor in here, like a drink shop or even like a vending machine or something like that, but I made this building 3 wide, and if anything, I think I should have made it 5 wide just for the game sense, because as you know, the pathing, oh dear, did I have some issues getting the pathing in here to work in such a small area, but also to connect to all of the exhibits in a way that the guests would view them but not get completely stuck and whatnot. It's still not perfect. The guests kind of move in wonky ways around the habitats, and they kind of stutter step and get stuck a little bit, but you know, I just work with what we're given, right? The pathing system isn't, it leaves some things to be desired sometimes, but you know, you gotta make do with what you have, right? So I think it works for what we tried to do, but going back to what I said, is I messed around with having vendors and stuff like that in here, and it just didn't work, right? Not only having to have another building set in here, but having the guests queue up to buy stuff and everything like that, it just created pandemonium, and the guests were all getting stuck and it started to lag the game and stuff. So I'm gonna create like a little, either a food court or like a little cafe on the other side of this building, I believe, somewhere for our guests to get some nourishment and liquids into them, right? Again, this is sandbox, so I can kind of do whatever the heck I want. I don't need to cater to my guests, but you know, for realism's sake, I want to, for realism's sake, I want to add the ability for them to enjoy themselves as well, right? But all in all, I think this build turned out really good. I'm super happy with how the building turned out. I think I did fairly decent with that. Let me know what you guys think about the actual building itself. I'll show you at the end of the video. We'll always have our little walkthrough showcasing the entire build, but I think all in all, the actual building is something ambitious for myself, so let me know what you guys think about the actual construction of it. Again, I apologize for the Australian purists that it's not a Australian building. In future videos for this series and other series, I will try and keep things, you know, regionally cohesive, but I just wanted to build it. Yeah, that's it. I just saw the picture. I was like, hey, that's cool. When can I put that in the game? I know. Let's do it now. That was the extent of my thought process on it, so I hope you guys understand where I'm coming from and enjoy it anyway. The new plants that they added with this DLC as well are fantastic. Are you guys... For those of you who are fans of my channel, have you guys all picked up the DLC yet? Or are you guys kind of holding off on it? You're waiting for a sale? Where are you guys sitting as far as the DLC? Because I love all the new plants and stuff. You know, I'm a big proponent for the plant life and whatnot. So let me know if you guys have even got the DLC yet, or if you're waiting, what are you waiting for? Let me know where you guys are sitting on it. I think personally it's great value for myself. The models that they created, like I said before, are second to none. They look better than all other animals in the game. The animations are flawless, right? When you look at like the cassowaries in particular, the detail on the feathering and the what would you call that? The wattle or the jowl? I think it's called a wattle, right? Like the bit that comes down below their throat. Like there's just so much detail in the model. It's absolutely incredible. I think Frontier did a great job. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed the video, please do let me know down in the comments. Leave a like on the video if you liked it. If you didn't like it, then hammer the dislike button. You know, it helps to let me know what you guys enjoy and what you would like to see done in a different way. All in all, if you're not a subscriber, consider hitting that button. We've got a lot more content here to come on the channel. As always, I appreciate you guys stopping in and viewing my videos. I hope you guys enjoy the stuff that I'm creating for you. And stay tuned for the koala habitat coming very soon. As always, I'm Reckless, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.